action.
So, hey boys and girls, welcome to the part 6 of this particular course, which is called Environmental Science, having the course code of MC301. The mandatory course of Environmental Science is present in the second year syllabus of BTech, right? Now, this is G. Chakraborty, and from the Department of Chemistry, and we will see the air and its pollution. Now, as you people already know, that we have started air long back. We have already completed 5 lectures in air out of 7 lectures that are present, and this is the sixth lecture. It is basically part 6 of air and its pollution, right? Now, in the first lecture of air and its pollution, that is lecture number 7, we people have seen the different layers of atmosphere that is present, right? After that, we have seen multiple things like the different type of pollutants, what is smog, how smog occurs, and what is global warming, what is greenhouse effect. And in the very last lecture, we have seen what is acid rain, how it is caused, and what are its effects, right? So let us see what we are having in this particular lecture. Okay. So this is air and its pollution, part 6, and as part of the lecture highlights, we are having destruction of ozone layer by CFCs for this particular lecture, right? So let us start it out. As you can see, the first one is nothing but the destruction of ozone layer by CFC. Okay, now we need to see that how CFC destroys the ozone layer, and what different effects of this particular thing is. So before considering the effect of CFCs on the ozone layer, let us try to understand that what is ozone layer, where it is situated, right, and what are the main components of ozone layer. Okay, why ozone layer is important for us. This is very important for us. Right? Basically, the ozone layer is present in the stratosphere, right, the second zone of the atmosphere, and this particular layer is very important for us because it protects us from the harmful UV radiation that comes from the sun. Okay, so this layer is our friend actually, and this, if depletion of our friend occurs, then definitely we'll be worried, and we'll try to heal it out, right? So now, standing today, the ozone hole is healing, on almost it has healed, so there is no problem of ozone layer depletion present right now. But the thing is, we need to study so that this history is not repeated again. Okay, this type of problem is not repeated again. That's why we need to know about it. Okay, so let us move into the details, and we can see that ozone depletion describes two distinct but related observations. Okay, so if these two observations occur, then we'll see that ozone layer depletion has occurred. Now, what these two things are: a slow and steady decline of of about 4% per decade in the total volume of ozone in Earth stratosphere, that is the ozone layer, till the late 1970s. Right? See, I told you people that at this moment there is no problem, right? And a much higher but seasonal decrease in stratospheric ozone over Earth's polar regions during the same period. So basically, as we can see from these two sentences, the total problem of ozone layer and its depletion occurred in and around 1970s. Okay, and its concern then started, and after 1990s, the ozone layer starts healing up and standing in 2020, having lots of coronavirus around, right? uh, Ozone hole and ozone layer depletion is not a problem right now. It has recovered. Okay, ozone hole has been filled up, and ozone layer has been recovering, right? Okay, so let us see what they have said. The latter phenomenon is commonly referred to as ozone hole. Okay, so if there is a larger but seasonal decrease in stratospheric ozone concentration over the polar regions during this particular time of 1970 and all, then this particular thing is called ozone hole. Okay, in addition to this well-known stratospheric ozone depletion, there are also tropospheric ozone depletion events which occurs near the surface in polar region during spring, right? This is also a seasonal impact. So during spring season, this particular thing happens, that the ozone layer gets depleted. Okay, and this particular ozone layer is not stratospheric ozone layer, but this is tropospheric ozone layer. Okay, so if tropospheric ozone is depleting, then we'll also be concerned. Though tropospheric ozone is harmful for us, but if depletion is there, we must find out for what reason this depletion is occurring, right? The detailed mechanism by which the polar ozone hole is formed from that of the middle altitude thinning, but the most important process is the body trends in catalytic destruction of ozone by the atoms chlorine and bromine. Now this particular thing is very important for us. See, it is saying that there may be multiple reasons for the depletion of the ozone hole, but the main reason being is the catalytic destruction of ozone by atomic chlorine and bromine. Actually, it is not atomic, it is free radical. Okay, chlorine free radical and bromine free radical. Basically, it comes from chlorofluorocarbons and bromofluorocarbons, right? Now, whenever this comes, they actually act as scavengers. They're a very good catalyst. Does a very fast reaction of conversion of ozone to oxygen, right? O3 gets converted to O2, and what happens? The corresponding ozone layer gets depleted. This results in the formation of a hole in this particular layer. Okay, the main source of this halogen atoms in the atmosphere is nothing but the photodissociation of chlorofluorocarbon compounds, which are commonly called freons. Now we know about this particular term freon, and the bromofluorocarbon atoms, which are called halogens. So we are having two friends, not friends, basically they are enemies, right? Let us discuss about these two enemies. Number one is freon, number two is halon. Okay, now freon comes from chlorofluorocarbons and halon comes from bromofluorocarbons. Okay, remember about these two, freons and halons, right? Okay, now let us clear it out. Now these particular compounds are transported into atmosphere after being emitted into the surface. Both ozone depletion mechanisms strengthened as emissions of CFCs and halos are increased. Okay, so if the use of these CFCs are increased, then what will happen? This type of compounds will be lot on air, and ozone layer depletion will occur. Okay, let us go to the next slide. So what is told here? It is said that CFCs are other contributory substance commonly called ozone depleting substance, ODs, right? Since the ozone layer prevents harmful UVB wavelengths, harmful wavelengths are actually held back by the ozone layer from passing the Earth atmosphere. Observed and predicted decreased in ozone have generated worldwide concern, leading to adoption of the Montreal Protocol that bans the production of CFCs and halos, as well as related ozone depleting substances such as carbon tetrachloride and trichloroethane. Through carbon tetrachloride and trichloroethane we use in all labs, right? We have to use as solvent, but very less amount. Okay, that does not causes ozone layer depletion. Okay, so basically this particular part is very important for us. It is said that the ODs means the ozone depleting substances, right? They basically destroy ozone, and this is a matter of real concern, because this particular ozone is nothing but the compound or the layer which protects us from UVB wavelengths, that is of 270 to 350 nanometer, which actually protects us from the problem of skin cancer and all, right? UV radiation. Okay, now this particular ozone is supposed to stop the UV rays from passing into the Earth's atmosphere, right? So whenever this ozone is missing, then what will happen? The UV rays will come directly to the atmosphere. It will create problem. As a result, man has signed the Montreal Protocol. Okay, and Montreal Protocol restricts the use of chlorofluorocarbons. It also restricts the use of other substances which deplete ozone layer, like carbon tetrachloride and trichloroethane. Okay, what's next? It is suspected that a variety of biological consequences such as increase in skin cancer, cataract, damage to plants, and reduction of plankton population, oceanic photic zone may result in increased UV exposure due to ozone depletion. So basically, These are the results of ozone depletion. If ozone depletion occurs, what will happen? People will suffer from skin cancer, cataract, and the plants will get damaged, and the phytoplanktons will not be produced, right? Their amount will be reduced, and different type of problems will occur, and we have to face this particular problem if we are not protecting the ozone layer by stopping this particular ozone depleting substances. Okay, amount of ozone at the stratosphere is determined by the balance between photochemical production and recombination. Yes, this is also very important, that each and every time what is happening, the old ozone molecules are getting broken down and the new ozone molecules are getting formed. Now, under this condition, we can see that this balance, if it is not intact, if this balance is broken down, then what will happen? We'll say that the ozone layer has depleted, otherwise not. So we need to see whether this balance is stable or it is being broken down, right? If it is broken down, then there is problem of ozone layer depletion. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now here we are seeing the chemical reactions which actually leads to ozone layer depletion. Okay, now what type of chemical reactions we can see? Okay, let's move into this particular thing. See, ozone can be destroyed by number of free radical catalysts, the most important of which are hydroxyl radical. This particular radical destroys the ozone layer. Nitric oxide radical, now this is the second one. Atomic chlorine, this is the third one. Bromine, this is the fourth one. Okay, so we are having four villains present here. The first one is nothing but hydroxyl radical, second one is nitric oxide radical, third one is chlorine radical, fourth one is bromine radical. Okay, all this actually depletes the ozone layer. Now all of this have both natural and man-made sources. At present time, most of the OH dot and NO dot in stratosphere are of natural origin, but human activity has dramatically increased the levels of chlorine and bromine. Okay, so four villains are there. Two villains are caused by nature, and the other two villains we are expert in creating them. Okay, we have created chlorine and bromine, atomic chlorine and bromine to a large extent. That's why the natural part has been whatever has been created by nature, we have outreached that, we have actually disbalanced the thing, okay, by creating more and more ozone layer depleting substances, right? Particular elements are found in certain stable organic compounds, especially the CFCs, which may find their way into the stratosphere without being destroyed by the troposphere in the low activity. Okay, so what will happen once we make these things? They will penetrate into the troposphere and they will go to the stratosphere and they will destroy the ozone layer. Okay, so once in stratosphere, Cl and Br atoms are liberated from the parent compounds by the action of UV light. Okay, and what will happen? Directly they will result in this particular reaction. What the reaction is? CFCl3 will result in CFCl2 plus Cl dot. This will be actually Cl dot. Okay, this scavenger, it destroys large amount of ozone molecules. Okay, this will also be Cl dot, right, and this will also be Cl dot. So what happens? The Cl and Br atoms can destroy ozone molecules with a variety of catalytic cycles. In the simplest way of this cycle, the chlorine reacts with ozone, taking oxygen, forming ClO, leaving behind normal diatomic O2 molecule, and the chlorine monoxide react with the second molecule to yield another chlorine atom and 2 molecules of oxygen, right? So basically you can see this is that much dangerous. Okay, let us use the red color and mark it out, that one Cl dot, I repeat, one Cl dot results in formation of 3 O2 molecules. 3 O2 molecules are actually coming from where? They are coming from 2 O3 molecules, right? So basically the reaction is 2 O3 to 3 O2. This is the overall reaction that happens, right? 2O3 to 3O2. And as you can see, one Cl dot molecule can result in this particular thing. And moreover, what the shocking thing is, after the completion of the process, this particular thing is regenerated because it is a catalyst. Once regenerated, it can again act on other three molecules of other two molecules of ozone result in formation of other three molecules of oxygen, right? So this is the way in which ozone layer gets depleted. Okay, so some other chemical reactions are discussed here. The overall effect is the decrease in amount of ozone. Okay, now more complicated mechanisms are there, right? But we are discussing the simple mechanism here as per our syllabus is concerned. Okay, and one more thing is that a single chlorine atom would keep on destroying ozone. That is what I was saying few moments ago, that one single chlorine atom will destroy large amount of ozone because it is a catalyst, right? And see the time span, my goodness, one Cl atom, one chlorine atom can work for 2 years, right? 2 years, and it can destroy millions of O3 molecules. Can you imagine? Millions of O3 molecules will be destroyed by one single Cl atom, which will stay there for 2 years, declining the number of O3, right, and increasing the number of O2. The time scale for the transport back down into the atmosphere. Okay, where it not for reactions that remove them from the cycle by forming reservoir species of HCl and chlorine. This okay. Now, if species like hydrogen are present, then they will form HCl or chlorine nitrate will be formed, and then they will be removed gradually. Right? On a per atom basis, bromine is more efficient than chlorine. See, bromine is the elder brother of chlorine as far as the periodic table is concerned. So bromine is more efficient in destroying ozone. There is much less bromine in the atmosphere at present, so we are a little bit happy. Otherwise, bromine would have destroyed the total ozone layer. Okay. As a result, both chlorine and bromine contribute significantly to overall ozone layer depletion. Laboratory studies have shown that fluorine and iodine atoms participate in analogous catalytic cycles. They are not that much problematic, but this chlorine and bromine, they are huge problematic. However, the Earth's atmosphere, fluorine atoms rapidly react with water and methane to form strongly bound HF, with oil organic molecules contain iodine so rapidly that at lower temperatures they do so and do not reach the stratosphere, right? So that's why they are not harmful. As fluorine and iodine, this type of molecules, they are trapped in the troposphere only. They react with different compounds and form their own compounds, stable compounds. That's why they don't travel to the stratosphere, because they are happy in the troposphere only. But chlorine and bromine, they travel to the stratosphere and they destroy the ozone layers one by one. Okay. Furthermore, single chlorine atom is able to react with 1 lakh ozone molecules. My goodness, single chlorine atom will react with 1 lakh. Okay, this fact plus the amount of chlorine released into the atmosphere by the chlorofluorocarbon yearly demonstrates how dangerous CFCs are to the environment. You know, it is dangerous. That's why the whole world was concerned about it, and the Montreal Protocol was signed. Otherwise, the Montreal Protocol would not have been signed. It is very much dangerous, That's why this protocol has been signed, and now the time has come when this particular problem is controlled, right? This is somehow controlled. Okay, so now not that much problem does not exist about the ozone layer and its depletion. Okay, so it has been controlled to some extent, standing today in 2020. What are the effects of this particular ozone layer depletion? The most harmful effect, as we can see, is the skin cancer, right? Skin cancer is one of the major problems of ozone layer depletion that actually occurs when this particular ozone layer is depleted and the UV radiation comes directly to the earth, right? Another important problem is eye and lung irritation, right? Reduced photosynthesis will be there, effects of crop productivity, and affect weather patterns through interference with oxygen, right? These are the several effects that we can see, okay, about the ozone layer depletion, right? So in this lecture we have seen in details what the ozone layer depletion is, how it occurs, and how one Cl atom acts as a villain and it destroys thousands of molecules, right? That also we people have seen. Okay, now Yes, Montreal Protocol was signed in around 90s, and from that time, the ozone hole is healing, right? So there is not much problem of ozone hole, but if we use CFCs again, then what will happen? The problem will rise again. Okay, so this is the actually takeaway from this particular lecture, that do not use compounds containing CFCs. Okay, right? So we have completed around 6 lectures, I guess, into this particular air part, and there are several questions that may come from this particular 6 lectures. So right away, there are some questions. Just try to go through them. In case of any problem, just contact me and we'll discuss. We'll solve it. Okay. So let us see the questions that are coming right away, and we'll see meet in the next lecture. Right. So thank you so much, and have a good day.